A massive water pipeline will be built in the South Valley. It'll be built under the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area. You may remember back in February when Fox 5 first told you about this proposal. Well, Kim has been following the story since then. She's back here and with more on how this is all going to work tonight.
Yeah, Tom, so this is where the pipeline will be built. Last week, President Trump signed the bill making it possible, and tomorrow Governor Joe Lombardo will hold a news conference announcing the details.
This bill that we will allow the Southern Nevada Water Authority to build a new pipeline.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto urging Congress to approve construction of a massive new water pipeline to protect the water of nearly half of the Vegas Valley.
Right now, almost 40% of Las Vegas residents and businesses depend on this South Valley Lateral pipeline. That's one single pipeline for nearly 3 million people. And that pipeline is 25 years old. In 10 years from now, it will reach 95% capacity.
The Sloan Canyon Conservation and Lateral Pipeline project would be constructed underground with tunneling beneath the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area. That's in the southernmost part of the valley, known for its striking canyon walls, wildlife, and petroglyphs. The authority to grant access under permanently protected federal land has to be granted by Congress. After passing both houses, President Trump signed the bill into law last week. It comes after years of study. The Southern Nevada Water Authority, who will be charged with building it, determined it is the safest, most effective, and least disruptive route, opting for an underground pipeline below Sloan Canyon, as opposed to constructing it through developed areas in the city of Henderson. The bill also expands the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area by more than 9,000 acres, increasing its size by nearly 20%. And Senator Masto says adding this second pipeline under Sloan Canyon will secure the future of water delivery in the southern portion of the valley for decades to come. And that work will be done while safeguarding the protected ecosystem. Tom?
Kim, thank you. Southern Nevada water users will pay for the pipeline, but how that cost will be broken down is something we are hoping to learn at tomorrow's news conference.